And we are recording, not what's up, folks. Hope everyone had a good Easter, by the way. Meeting with family and stuff. So this is basically an update video to let people know what's actually happening. Next Tuesday, which is Tuesday the 18th, there is going to be a removals van that's going to be transporting all the stuff in the studio and essentially dumping it in various areas of this house. Because there sure as fuck isn't any room in the bedroom. It's just like, just put all the boxes in the corner and I will imagine they're not there. So yeah, they're basically I'm basically going to be spending all of this week essentially ripping the studio down and packaging it up in a lot of boxes. A lot of boxes. So the removal van's coming up at the studio on Tuesday the 18th. The keys are being held over on Wednesday the 19th, sorry. And that's the studio done and dusted. That's the studio thing all over. However, on the day of Tuesday the 18th, because the removals van is coming up very early about 10 in the morning, and the studio looks like there's stuff everywhere, but a lot of it is small stuff that can be packaged up in very big boxes that can be stacked, right? But the bigger stuff, like the standing domed lights, they're going to be sold off in Facebook Marketplace. There's fucking no room here for them. There simply isn't. Some of the other photography stuff, like the light boxes, they're going to be packaged up and sold off on Facebook Marketplace as well, because again, there's no fucking room for them here. The editing rig PC, because there's already a PC sitting here that's technically not as good as the editing rig up at the studio, I'm going to be merging the two. So taking out all the good bits of both the PCs, making one really good PC, and the spare PC that's left over, Facebook Marketplace. And that's going to be the idea for me for essentially a lot of May, a lot of the month of May. The big stuff that I simply can't use here at the house is going to be basically sold off in Facebook Marketplace. That leaves a lot of the vape related stuff. Now there is there is a lot of shelves in the background. When you look at the studio based reviews, especially when I moved into the bigger office, there is a lot of shelves in the background. Two of those shelves are going to be remaining, but you're not going to see them on camera. They're going to be here, right next to me, underneath this window. And that's where I'm going to be keeping like batteries, battery chargers, the general vaping stuff. There is two 70 centimetre long floating shelves that were originally going to be used for a redo of the original studio when I first moved in there in 2018, when I had the floating shelves behind me. There was a plan for a redo, and then that bigger office came up and I went, oh, I'll have that. That's when I actually had lots of money. Well, lots of money compared to what I've got, and I went, I'll have that studio instead. Big mistake, but there we go. Hindsight is 2020 and all that kind of stuff. But I've still got those shelves. Two 70 centimetre long floating shelves. And they're going to be stuck on that wall up there. So, next week there is going to be reviews. It's probably going to be a couple of pod reviews as I get things sorted out here in the house. But it's going to be very similar to the way the setup was at the end of 2017 going into the very beginning of 2019. The camera's going to be set up there and it's going to point that way. So you're going to have shut up phone. You're going to have the two... Oh, guess who's left Star Trek Online running? That's Star Trek Online for the people wondering. That's what's been keeping me sane for the past month with all the health stuff that's been going on. Star Trek Online. I'm a Trekkie, what can I say? But the camera's going to point that way. There's going to be two big floating shelves there with some vape stuff in the background, but there's a lot of vape stuff. There is 3 70-litre fucking huge bastards 70-litre Amazon plastic carry-all boxes. 2 of them is full of pods and AIOs, sealed in the box. 1 of them is full of AIOs, RTAs and RDAs, and another one is full of all-in-oneers, bigger all-in-oneers and mods. There's no room in the house. They're going to be stacked up probably next to the bed. There is going to be a series of auctions going off on the channel, probably at the beginning of summer, at the very end of spring, beginning of summer, in order to get rid of the vast bulk of the stuff that I'm carrying over from the studio. That includes a lot of the stuff that you're seeing in the background of the older reviews in the current studio. And there's only going to be 2 shelves up there. That's going to have the Asmodeus collection, couple of the Titans, Steve Dillon. In fact, can I fit Steve Dilligaff Porter's stand on that? There might be a Steve Dilligaff Porter stand on that. And a couple of ornaments. But there is a whole bunch of mods in the background that you see in those reviews, including all the mods, tanks, drippers, all the double ups, all the triple up pods that are chucked under the table for future giveaways. There's going to be a whole bunch of auctions, and it's going to be quick fire auctions that's going to be going off to get rid of all the vape stuff. And the auctions are not going to be for charity this time round. It's going to be for me. All the money's going to be ploughed into paying off some of the debt that's basically stacked up for Vaping with Vic over the course of the past couple of months. So that's going to be the plan for probably June and July. But just to keep everyone up to date, the reviews are coming back. They are not going to be as whizzy as they used to be. Like, there's going to be no spinny green screen bit, because again, there's no room for the green screen here in this studio. There's not here in this bedroom, should I say. There's going to be no room for the light box set up with the spinny thing, because that's going to have to be flat packed and sold off. There's no room. So it's going to be back to basics. Essentially, that's what we're looking at. It's going to be back to basics here on the channel, with the reviews being done here in the bedroom again. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to have to go, either via Facebook Marketplace for some of the photography stuff and the video stuff, like the fucking huge standing lights that they just can't fit in here now. The 2 cameras are going to be kept because I've figured out a way to keep the 2 camera system running, and because this is a fucking thick wooden table here, I'm going to have the table cam again set up here, so it's going to be behind me when I'm facing that way to do the FaceTime stuff. So I've got it set up in my head. It's basically going to kind of be a repeat of the way that I used to do it in 2017, beginning of 2018. It's going to be a kind of a repeat of the way that I used to do things, but because of the amount of stuff that's going to be transported back here, there's going to be a lot of auctions. And there's going to be, for the larger photography gear, there's going to be a few Facebook Marketplace listings. Now, I was toying with the idea, and I don't know if this would actually work, but I was toying with the idea, at least for the fucking, there is hundreds of podcasts. Literally fucking hundreds of them. I was toying with the idea of just putting up a Facebook post and saying, yeah, any local vape shops, 200 quid, you can have the lot. Because there's literally hundreds of podcasts. Now, the problem is a lot of those podcasts are very, very old. Some of them are getting on to 2.5 years old now. Whether you can still get the pods for the kit is anyone's guess. But for a bargain bin in a vape shop, it's perfect. Just that single pod kit. And a lot of the older pod kits has 2 spare pods in the box. So you hand that over to a smoker. Odds are they'd probably help them give up smoking, and then say to them, hey, when that bargain bin pod kit runs out, pop back in again and we'll get you something a bit newer. That kind of thing. But I don't know yet, folks. I don't know. There is options on the table, though. There is options on the table, but yeah. Next week is basically the end of the studio era of Vaping with Vic, and we're basically going to be going back to basics here in the bedroom again. I will keep doing the reviews with the lapse in the rent, and because I no longer have to pay rent for the studio, it means that currently speaking, things are kind of even right now with the income against me stopping doing reviews and going back onto disability again. Things are kind of even with the income that's going on right now. But the way I was looking at this, if it gets to the stage where more Patreons leave because of the cost of living crisis, if it gets to the stage that more folks on YouTube members leave because of the cost of living crisis, there will come a point, whether it's the end of this year, beginning of next year, if no new Patreons come in and no new means of income comes in, and the current major e-cig vendors and manufacturers refuse to do fast tracks and throw all their money at basically kid advertising on TikTok and Instagram, there will come a point where I'll have to go back onto ESA again. Right now, I can skirt my way around it. But there is debts to be paid off as well. And that's the reason that some of the stuff, the big photography stuff that a lot of vapors are going to have no interest in, the fucking huge lights, that's the reason a lot of those are going to be sold off in Facebook Marketplace to get some kind of money back in to pay off some of the debts at least. And yeah, that's basically it, folks. As you've probably guessed, no, I will not be going to the UK Vapor Expo. Number one, I don't have any money. And number two, a lot of the first 2 months of May, 2 weeks of May, which is the first bank holiday of May where Chucky gets a crown stuck in his head, and the second weekend of May when the UK Vapor Expo is taking place, I'm going to be here sorting through boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that essentially needs to be sorted out, and I need to do it. So yeah, I thought I'd keep everyone up to date. The reviews are going to keep going, folks, but they're not going to be as whizzy with green screeny stuff. They're not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be back to basics again. Because I simply don't have the fucking room to do green screen here. I really fucking don't have the room to do green screen here. I've got a couple of ideas in my head how to maximise storage. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is going to have to go. A lot of it is going to have to go. In a way, again, it's that little voice in the back of my head. In a way, I'm kind of happy that I'm doing the reviews back in the house again, because that way there's no need to travel up to the studio at stupid o'clock in the morning and then travel back in the wind and the fucking rain. I can just set up the cameras here at the house, do the reviews, take the cameras down and go back to playing Star Trek Online. That's kept me sane. See, it's kept me sane over the past month. But there's also a little bit of me saying, Vic, the reason that you moved into those studios is because you have no room in this house. And yeah, that's going to be the niggling factor. There's no room here in this bedroom. And it's not a case with swapping with Mother Dearest for the front bedroom, because the front bedroom's technically smaller than the back. It's a long, thin bedroom at the front. This is just a big box room. It's a big square room, so there's actually technically better floor space planning here compared to the room at the front. The room at the front, although it's bigger, it's thinner. And it would be a nightmare setting up in there. It would be a nightmare, plus we'd need to fucking move everything as well. That's an even bigger nightmare. Anyway, I'll have something figured out, folks. I will have something figured out. With any luck, probably by the end of next week, there will be a couple of tester reviews up, as I basically get used to doing the reviews back here in the old house again, compared to the studio where I've been doing it for the past, 4 years now. Again, it'll be back to basics. There'll be no whizzy effects going on, none of that green screen spinny stuff going on. It's going to be just back to basics. It's going to be very similar to the way that Mike Vapes does his reviews, actually. Very similar to the way Mike Vapes does it. Just straight to the point. Face cam, table cam, face cam. None of this whizzy green screen stuff and stats and interstitials, because again, all the photography boxes have to go because there's fucking no room here to set them up. There's no room. Anyway, I think that covers it, folks. Anything else? Nah, there isn't. So keep an eye out. Probably as we get to the end of next week, I'm going to be putting a Facebook post up if you're in Scotland, right? Because I'm not fucking posting out these lights, they're too fucking big. But if you're in Scotland, there is a couple of very, it's going to be, is it 2 or 3? I think I've got 3 of them. I might keep one of them though and pack it up for myself later on, but there's going to be a couple of rather good photography lights going up on Facebook Marketplace, along with a couple of other bits and bobs. But I'll keep people up to date in my own Facebook profile as to what's actually going up for sale. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. As always, thanks for watching and have a good one.